Article 10, Right to Life. This section begins with one comment highlighted in a panel. Sterilisation and hormone treatment of disabled children is still legal here. Records should be kept. Survey respondent. Introduction. Article 10 states that every human being is born with the right to life. Governments must guarantee that this is equally true for people with and without disabilities. General comment. This article is relevant to issues such as prenatal testing, pregnancy termination, access to medical care, assisted suicide and euthanasia. It has particular significance to disabled New Zealanders at present as a result of proposed changes to prenatal screening and the passing of the End of Life Choice Act 2019. Importance of Article 10 to disabled people in New Zealand. While the right to life is always of fundamental importance, the current debates around prenatal screening and assisted dying have elevated the significance of this article in recent times. Current place of Article 10 in New Zealand law and practice. The New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990, in particular Section 8, protects the right of all New Zealanders not to be deprived of life. The End of Life Choice Act 2019 may enable people to ask for assisted dying if they have a terminal illness that is likely to end their life within 6 months and if they meet other eligibility criteria. A person is not eligible for assisted dying solely on the grounds they have a disability, including a psychosocial disability, or is of advanced age. The Act will only come into force if passed by a majority of voters in a national referendum in late 2020. Committee's previous dialogue with the state on Article 10. The government's first report to the Disability Committee noted that the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act provides that no one shall be deprived of life, a right that applies equally to all people. In its 2014 concluding observations on New Zealand, the Disability Committee did not address Article 10. Comment on the realisation of Article 10 in New Zealand. There are a number of areas of concern that appear to undermine the right to life provided for in Article 10. There is concern at the impact that the End of Life Choice Act 2019 may have on the right to life for people with medical and psychiatric conditions. End note 94. The Human Rights Commission submission on this legislation highlighted issues such as, end note 95, lack of safeguards against coercion, feelings of being a burden in the environment, and devalued identity and a lack of even or equal choices for disabled people in the absence of properly resourced disability support and palliative options. The figures comparing life expectancy of people with intellectual impairment to those of their non-disabled peers, published by the Ministry of Health in 2011, show a significant discrepancy between the life expectancy of non-disabled men, 18 years or more, and non-disabled women, 23 years or more, and that of their peers with intellectual impairments. A similar discrepancy exists for people with psychosocial disabilities. End note 96. The use of antenatal screening to detect genetic difference, in particular Down syndrome, is an area of concern to disabled people and their organisations. End note 97. A recent report commissioned by the Law Foundation identified some key areas of concern around the need for effective genetic counselling for parents who choose to undergo testing and to ensure that screening does not lead to eugenic outcomes. End note 98. Recommendations. The IMM recommends that the government 31. Ensure the potential negative impact that any legislation permitting assisted dying may have on disabled people is taken into consideration. 32. Ensure through effective monitoring that, should the End of Life Choice Act 2019 come into force, it does not have a disproportionate impact on the right to life for disabled people.